No cheers for student accounts today? Are you guys not excited? When I beg for it, I usually get a little something, so. I'm only going to take a few minutes of your time because we just learned this is our one chance to talk to students when they may have a parent or someone here who might be helping them navigate the financial aspect of college. And what we've learned and what I know very personally from my own experience with my own kids when they're in college is that taking over the financial part of college is typically kind of more of a weeding process and not something most students arrive here ready to handle 100% on their own. But there are limits to how and who we can share information with, so I want to talk about that today. The first thing I want to mention is that we're here this summer. You'll start to see some account activity this summer, and I bring up some questions for you. So we are here available. You can stop in if you're in the area or call or email. And we're in Warner Hall, and that includes later today if you have some questions while you're here on campus. So I want to talk about the MyBlue account. So students, this is your MyBlue portal. I'm sure you're familiar already with that. But you're the owners of the account, and you're ultimately the ones responsible now, maybe for the first time ever, for all of the bills for college. It will fall on you if something remains unpaid, and it become a barrier to your education if it puts a hold on your account or something like that. But like I mentioned already, we know that you probably need some support with it, even though it's ultimately your responsibility. But this information is protected by law called FERPA, and that means we can't actually answer your parents' questions unless we have your permission to do so. And that can be a little clunky at times. If you had a question and you called your parent, for example, instead of us, which is fine, and they called us, I would have to put them on hold, reach out to you, the student, to get your permission, either by email or by phone, try to track you down a little bit. So the first thing I want to point out here is when you're logged into MyBlue and you click student accounts, if you go over here on the right side of the screen, you see manage guest account, and that will let you give the guest, a trusted adult or someone who might be helping you, their own secure login to your MyBlue account. All right. When you give guest access, you will have a series of checkboxes so you can customize what kinds of information you want your guests to see. You don't have to give them access to everything, but the boxes you check will determine what options your guest has here on the left menu when they log in. So if someone's helping you navigate the financial part of college, you'll want to check the student financial spots, and then they will at these tabs, student accounts and financial aid. Okay, and they'll be able to see some information. And then for our part, if your parent called us or someone who's helping you called us, I can see who you granted guest access to. I can see their name and their email and what boxes you checked, so I can make sure that they have access to the financial information. And then you'll set up a little secret phrase, and we will ask them for that phrase, so make sure you tell them what that is, to just verify the person on the phone is who they say they are. And then we can answer their questions without having to reach out to you because we know you already gave access. So that's an important thing you can do already this summer. So then when you're logged in, whether you're the student or the guest, if you have the student financials, you can see student accounts in MyBlue. It will look like this. So let's just drive around real quick and look at some things that we make available. So for those times maybe that our office isn't open. First of all, you'll see a balance, not today, even though you're getting enrolled in classes, but once we post charges, that's kind of real time for tuition and fees. Other charges could take a day or so to process if you changed your housing or your meal plan. Those aren't real time. Any information we have to get from another department could take a few days to process. But when you see that balance, if you're wondering what are those charges from, you'll go click account details. That will be the line item detailed accounting of everything that we're charged. So tuition is broken out. Each fee is listed individually. The payments that you've made, whether it's financial aid payments or personal payments. If we've requested a refund for you, you'll see that. We'll see the date and you'll see the dollar amount. And so you'll be able to kind of know when those funds will be available to you. Going back to the left menu, when you click student accounts, these choices that are in a darker blue open up. And I just really quickly want to mention the 1098-T form. Students, you're not going to hear that again until probably January or February. Your parent or your tax preparer might be asking you for a 1098-T form. So just remember the tax form's in MyBlue. You can access it here. It's a PDF that's really easy for you to share. You can print it or email it. And then I want to point out direct deposit for refunds. You can click here and then set up a bank account. So if we ever owe you money, whether it's an overpayment of financial aid or some other activity or a timing issue that creates a credit balance and we need to give you some money back, it can go straight to your bank account. You'll just click here and do that securely. These two items 1090AT, and direct deposit, your guest can't set up for you. You will have to do that through your login, okay? All right. I want to mention the bill. So some of you were probably high school students who took dual enrolled classes with us, and we would mail you paper bills, but we're not going to do that anymore. We do all e-billing once you're here on campus, and what that means is we put your bill on MyBlue. Then we send the student an email to their local mail letting them know that they have a bill to pay if you have something due, and then no one else is getting that notification. Okay, so if you're not paying the bill, you have to be sure to share with someone who is the bill. It's a PDF you can share, or if they have best access, you can just say, hey, I have a bill to look at in MyBlue. They can log on and check it out. And guests can make a payment using this blue button in MyBlue. You can pay online several different ways, ACH, credit card, debit card, or all options. And then here's what you'll click if you want to use our optional payment plan, and we'll talk more about that on the next slide or two. All right, let's talk about the billing timeline. So I have the fall specific dates on this slide, but the billing timeline really happens with the same rhythm every semester. So I like to go over it. You won't be caught unaware by a bill once you kind of get the rhythm of it. July 27th is the day you could log in and see some charges start to post to your student account. We'll put tuition and fees out that day. And then hopefully that day or within a day or so, you will see your housing charges and your meal plan charges come over to your account. That balance is going to go even higher, all right? No one's going to panic, because if you notice the next item on the timeline, August 14th, is the day your financial aid will feed to your account and reduce those charges to what you were expecting to pay out of pocket, or maybe even overpay, and we'll be requesting a refund for you, okay? You'll always see your charges first. And the rule of thumb to remember for financial aid will be 10 days before the first day of class. So for every semester going forward, 10 days before the first day of class is when you should see that feed. And that's a nice hint for you too, that if you don't see that happen, maybe you need to log in to MyBlue and look at your to-do list, or call our office. Maybe there's something else that's going on that we need to figure out for you. Okay, August 24th is the first day of class, of course. And then we're always going to give you through the first Friday of classes to drop a class and get 100% of your tuition and fees back for a full semester class. All right. So you do kind of want to make those decisions quickly. If you're in a class that you're really thinking, oh, this isn't what I thought it was going to be, or I'm not sure I need this class, you want to drop by that first Friday for a couple of reasons. One, so you're not paying for part of the class that you don't need credit for or aren't going to end up getting any credit for. The refund amount goes down each week until there's no refund. And then also it'll give you a chance to add a class if you need to remain full-time and not be too far behind on that class. September 3rd is when we're going to send the Loper Mail email if you have a bill. You'll get a Loper Mail notification saying you have a bill to look at in MyBlue. You'll log in, or you'll share that information with your guests. And then September 24th, any amount that's due is due in full, unless you want to enroll in our optional payment plan. If you want to do the payment plan, if you remember, that's the green banner on the previous screen, you would click. We partner with Nelnet, and they administer our payment plan. So if you want to make 3 payments using the local payment plan, the window to do that will always be the day we bill you to the day it's due. So for fall, that will be September 3rd to September 24th. Anytime in there, you click that banner, set up your account with Nelnet. What that looks like is you would pay 33% of whatever balance is remaining on your account at the time of enrollment, and a $25 fee that goes to Nelnet. The remaining balance is divided in 2, and what you're doing is authorizing automatic payments to process October 20th and November 20th. Okay, so you initiate that first payment when you enroll, then these 2 will automatically process. You don't have to initiate those payments, you just have to remember they're happening. I don't know if this will apply to anyone in this room, but I always like to share how I would use a little hack to pay over 5 months. So at one point in time, I had 3 kids in college. That could be a similar situation for one of you in this room. So just real briefly, I'll share how I do that. I would watch for charges to post at the end of July, and then I would make a payment to UNK. Now I need to remember a couple of things. I need to remember that this does not reflect their financial aid. So I would need to know what they're expecting for financial aid and do the math. To make sure I'm still eligible for the payment plan, I have to have a minimum balance of $300 to enroll in the payment plan. So I make a payment to UNK using the blue Make a Payment button or in person with cash or check. Then about the time, the first week of class, I would make another payment. That's about a month later to UNK. And then a month later, on the due date, I will enroll in the Loper Payment Plan. So my first Loper Payment Plan payment That 33% is actually my third payment. My fourth and fifth payments will automatically process through the LOPR payment plan. And then students, by this time, you will be advised and you'll be enrolled in your classes for spring term, and you can do the same thing. You can make a payment in December, a payment in January, and then enroll in the LOPR payment plan in February. So this is a great way if you're on a budget or if you want to minimize some loans or something like that, that you could actually pay over 5 months and just kind of keep that monthly payment going, basically from July through April for the regular terms. Okay, I'm almost done. I haven't seen anybody fall asleep yet, so I'm feeling pretty good about myself. Your action steps for success. What I'm envisioning here is that students, you're going to do a little discernment, and then you'll sit your parents down, or whoever's helping you, and kind of have a frank conversation about how much support you think you need, and then go ahead on your own and grid guest access, using those check boxes to customize what they can see. All right, and then just remember that if it's not working out for some reason, you can revoke guest access or change the customization of their guest access at any time, okay? And then also I'd like to mention that if someone in this room does not have support financially, that we're your helpers. You come talk to us and we help you figure out any questions you might have about the bill, okay? While you're sitting there with your computer, after you grant guest access to somebody who's going to be helping you, go ahead and enroll in direct deposit. A lot of you will be expecting a financial aid overpayment, and we're going to get those funds to you so you can use them for your expenses. When you enroll in direct deposit, we can get those funds into your bank account in about 5 business days. If you're not enrolled in direct deposit, we request a paper check. They're actually produced in Lincoln and they're mailed to us, and it takes about 14 days for those to arrive in our office if everything goes the way it's supposed to. And then you have to come pick that refund up with your photo ID in our office, and then you need to have a plan to get that deposited into your bank account. So if you're expecting an overpayment, and even if you're not, there's a lot of different ways that you could end up with a credit balance and we would want to refund that money to you. So go ahead and enroll in direct deposit. It's really easy to change. If you would say open an account in Kearney, for example, once you're on campus for a while, you just delete the old information and add the new information to keep it up to date. Okay? All right. The last slide I got here is just a QR code. So the screenshots I showed you were for the student account portal, MyGlue. But we have a lot of information also out on our website. You could also go to uak.edu and just search student accounts. So you'll find our contact information. You'll find calculators to help you estimate your next semester's tuition costs. You can see what kind of information we include on the 1098T. You can find out more information about the payment plan and that sort of thing by going to our webpage. You guys have any questions for me? Some of you just have decided you would like this to be over, and I totally get that. But I really appreciate your time, and I hope you have a great day. Oh, okay. That's great.